Okay, so I thought I'd post a quick video about my LUTs and how to use them and how to use them in Resolve and Premiere and how to get the best out of them and what camera profiles I use it for. So what I'll do is I'll jump into this video, I'll show you how to install it in Resolve, show you how to set up in Premiere, how to get the best out of it, and to show you that LUTs don't always work perfect each time. It all depends about your exposure and your lighting and things like that, but they get you to a great starting point, and if you did nail the exposure, it gets you to a great finishing point as well. So let's check it out and let's get started. To install the LUTs in Resolve, it's the only one that's a bit different than Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro X. Adobe Premiere Pro is pretty simple. You just use the Lumetri color tab and you install them that way by browsing through the files. And Final Cut Pro X is the same, just using LUT loaders, things like that. So Resolve, what you have to do is once you dragged in all your clips and you're ready to edit or ready to color, you just go to the Settings tab down here on the bottom. And we want the color management tab in this list, and when we're in here we want to open the LUT folder. So once we have that open, I always get rid of Resolve really quick. Don't close it, just minimize it, and this is the LUT folder for Resolve, so the ones that come with Resolve and the ones that you want to put into it. So once we're in here, I know my LUTs are on here, so wherever you saved them and ready to go, just make sure you drag over the ones for Resolve. So I know my S-Log2 ones for Resolve are here, so I always copy and paste them in, because if you drag them over and it will get rid of the file. So you want to make sure you got duplicates of them, so where you originally stored it and then when you put them in Resolve. So now that's done, we can close that and go back into Resolve. And once we're in here, we want to update the list. So this will take just a little while, just a minute or two. And once it's done, you know all the LUTs are updated and in your list ready to click on. So that's ready to go. So make sure you click Save, and we're ready to use the LUTs. So first of all, let's just add a quick serial node, and then in the drop down bar we got the 3D LUTs here, and we want to go all the way down to S-Log2. So S-Log2, here's where all the LUTs we just installed. Just say we want a base profile. It's a good example to show you. So LUTs don't work perfect all the time. They get you to a good starting point. So unless you shoot the exact same exposure for every single clip, they're not going to be exactly the same every single time. Because this one's a bit dark, what we want to do is we know the file there without the LUT is fine, and with the LUT it's a bit dark, so we want to adjust the LUT. So on here I would just hit some points in the curves here, drag up the black level a little bit, and drag up the mids just a touch. Just skim through, looks pretty good. And then we add another LUT, and this go for a film it kind of look. So there we go, this film gives it a bit of a harsh kind of look to get it a bit more gritty, a bit more of a, you know, like a cop show kind of thing. You want something a bit dirty and gritty. And we'll choose, let's go for a cream look. So there we go, we got a nice cream faded black kind of look going on. And if you want, you know, to be a bit harsher, you can just boost the highlights a bit more or bring it down, raise the mids, and you're good to go. So there we go for Resolve. Now let's jump into Premiere. So here we are in Premiere, and now in Premiere you got a couple of options. So in the base correction here, you can import the LUT with the Lumetri color tab, but you've also got the creative tab here, and you can do it that way. And then this way you can adjust the intensity of the LUT, the vibrance, saturation, without affecting the look of the file. But another good way to do it, which I recommend, is to use it kind of like how you use Resolve. Obviously Resolve is more powerful, but within Premiere Pro, if you add a quick adjustment layer, make sure it's the same frame and height of the original file, which you usually would do automatically. So if you're shooting 4K or 1080, it would do that automatically for you. And drag that on top, and we'll zoom just a bit so you can see what's going on. And you want it the same size as the file. So this is our original file, and this is our adjustment layer. We want to add the LUT to the adjustment layer. So now we're here, and we're going to browse to where we got our LUT saved. And ours are on the desktop, and we want to go in here in the LUT tutorial and S-Log2. And this is what I mean earlier about don't drag your files in Resolve. Make sure you copy and paste, because if I went to this onto the desktop and I dragged it over, that would be gone because I moved it. So make sure you copy and paste your files over. So in this file, in the LUT pack, I've also updated S-Log2 because I don't shoot your standard S-Log2 settings. So my S-Log2 settings are slightly tweaked to get more accurate color, and the reds aren't so boosted and things like that. So for now, I'm going to use my new profile base, and we'll jump in here. So there we go. So now to quickly see the difference without it, you just hide the adjustment layer and you can see what's going on. And any tweaks that you want to make with the original file, I would suggest changing the actual file, which is here, and then with the LUT, if you want more extreme thing going on with the LUT, you can change that here, and you know, bump up the contrast or bring the exposure down, things like that. So there we go. So let's start again. Now let's do the new golden gray that I installed. So it's golden gray. So we got some warm highlights, but it's also got like a nice gray, kind of washed out kind of look to it, which is really nice to use. And we'll go in here and we'll go back to the S-Log2 pack. And let's go for something a bit more stylized. Just go for Peach Fade, see what we get with Peach Fade. So there we go, we got a Peach Fade kind of look. And it looks pretty cool. Now let's jump into some other LUTs, because at the moment we're just messing with S-Log2 LUTs. So for example, latest ones that I did, which are Canon C-Log. And for a quick example, I won't bother with adjustment layer. For a quick example, we'll jump in and we'll C-Log LUTs, and we'll want Premiere, and let's choose just the base LUT. So there we go. So there's the LUT there. So a lot of you might ask, can you use the base LUT from S-Log with C-Log, or can you use the C-Log base profile for S-Log? Obviously you can click on whatever file you want, but I've designed the LUTs so the color matches the colors of the camera. So I'm not boosting anything that shouldn't be boosted in the colors. So I'm trying to make them as natural as possible, without boosting anything too red or too green and things like that. So the base profiles will work, and they will still get you a Rec 709 kind of look, but it's best to use the base profiles I designed for those cameras so nothing gets boosted in a weird way. Let's choose something that's not base. So if you want to be a bit more funky, you can choose a faded look, and you can see we've got nice faded blacks. Let's check out a bit of DJI. So here's something I shot on the Spire. So we got like a nice desert scene, and I shot this flat with my custom profile settings that are with the LUTs that you download for DJI. Let's go for a warm film look. So there we go. It's a bit warm. It's a bit gritty. This one we could probably use with boosting it up a little bit. So we'll boost up the midtones, give it a bit harsher look, make it pop a bit more. Let's see what cool looks like. So cool is basically cooling down the blacks, making them a bit more cooler towards the blue, and milking things out a little bit. But for this one, because it looks a bit washed out still for my taste, what I would do is jump into the curves and bring down the blacks a little bit, maybe bring down the midtones and boost up those highlights. So we're exaggerating it a little bit, and now it looks a bit more cool. So as you can see, LUTs don't work perfect every time. The look is still there, you just have to make sure you tweak it the right way to bring it out in the scene that's not working. So now let's jump into some 4.6K footage. So here we go here. We're in a gym, and this is obviously 4.6K BMDFilm. And let's just give it, see what look we've got going on here. So let's punch things up and see if we get gritty with this gym kind of feel. So there we go. Let's push those highlights quite a bit. Let's give it a nice blue, cool kind of look. And this works for like a cool little fashion piece if you're shooting any fashion stuff in the gym. Obviously we're losing a bit of highlights, but sometimes it's not bad to lose highlights. A lot of problems people have with shooting log, S-Log2, S-Log3, BMDFilm is they're afraid to lose some of that detail. But there's nothing wrong with that. It depends on what look you're going for. Not everything can have high dynamic range in every single scene. Sometimes you want a bit of grit to it. So let's choose something slightly different for this, and we'll choose boost. And we're just boosting those colors a bit. It looks mild compared to what we just saw, but let me just quickly show you without it. So BMDFilm and with it, and it's just slightly boosting some of the colors. Oh, this one's fun. Let's show you some iPhone LUTs. So here we go. Shot on the iPhone. Standard as it is inside the iPhone, no apps used, just straight from the iPhone video camera. And we want to mess with the iPhone. Obviously kicks out the footage, is a bit harsh. One of the first ones I created was a mild kind of look. So I think at the time I set it up for a talking head, so it was their faces. If I click interview mild, what it's done is it's just brought up a bit of the detail, but it's made it a bit softer. So as you can see around here, this will get brighter and the edges are just a bit softer. So this is without it and that's with it. Nice cool little faded blacks, making it a bit soft, making it a bit cool. And let's go to cream look, see where we get the cream look. So as you can see here, this one works fine, but my taste, the highlights is probably a little bit hot. So I would bring those down a touch. Now this one I really like, so I'll bring in this one and I'll bring in another iPhone shot that I saw, because I wanted to just show you the differences between the contrast of the window and the darks here, and with the bridge and the sky and everything here. So this is one that's called flat. So it basically brings your iPhone footage to a log type state footage in case you want to match it with other cameras. I tried to make the files as flat as possible. My favorite one out of all of them is flat 3. Made everything completely flat, but all the details there, and we got some detail back in the sky, and everything's nice and soft, and you can start from scratch. So without it and with it, so as you can see, all the details are coming back in. And this is a good example for the one in the kitchen, because we're really dark around here, and then we got this hot spot coming in here. So we'll add the flat LUT. You can see how much detail it brings back in. For example, just look at the pattern on her top here and the highlights in the window. Okay, so here we got some red footage. So this was shot on the Red Epic. What I did is I just exported out red log film footage from the camera. Why would you want to grade from red log film in a ProRes file? Well, basically Red is an amazing camera. I love the raw workflow, and you never really want to shoot ProRes unless you're just tight on budget or you're doing quick turnarounds. And especially with the new cameras, you can record ProRes and RAW at the same time. To be honest, their native workflow is fast anyways, but the 5K files exporting out on a laptop or anything like that is going to cause you some hassle. So what I did is I did my best to get back the red gamma look with the files, because in all honesty, I love the look out of the red cameras. No need to mess with it. But if you are working with ProRes clips and red log film, what I did is I created two kind of looks for red log, red color 4, red gamma 4. So we'll click on that, and this will bring you back to a pretty damn similar look to shooting red gamma 4, red color 4. But if you want something a bit more stylized and you didn't want it baked in when you recorded with ProRes, you can choose all the other files that you got going on here, which is nice. For fashion stuff, we got a film 3 kind of look. Many different looks to choose from to mess with when you're shooting. We got like a harsh film kind of look, boosting those highlights, giving it a nice gritty feel. It's good for boxing, even some fashion stuff that you can use with that with. Lots of cool settings. I showed you some phantom settings, some DJI settings. S-Log 2, we got some Blackmagic footage in there, we got some C-Log footage, we got some iPhone footage with cool looks, and we got some iPhone footage with the flat look. So there you go, that's pretty much it. That's how I would use them. And once again, they're not always perfect. You just need to know how to tweak them and know how it works right with you. And what's great with the cameras that allow you to install the LUTs, you're gonna get it perfect every time if you can view how you're shooting with that LUT. You would never mess it up. But for cameras that don't do that, just learn how to tweak them the way that I just showed you. And yeah, I hope that helps people out. And thanks for checking this out.